Yesterday I came to within one click of deleting this entire channel. When I first started the channel, the original intention was to teach people who didn't know anything about written Thai just to be able to negotiate a menu in Thailand or some basic signs. That was it. It hasn't really worked out that way. The people I tend to get already know quite a lot about written Thai, and it's going over more advanced material than I originally intended. And I think there are over 100 videos on the channel, and I made a mistake in one of them. It is a mistake, and I know it, and it's been pointed out a few times before, and it happened again the other day. And there's nothing people like more on YouTube than to point out a mistake. They've got nothing good to say, but they'll come out and they'll point a mistake. So I just thought, what's the point? This channel doesn't pay me anything. There's no advertising on it. I get zero from it, and sometimes it's just a bit of a headache. So if I deleted it, it would get rid of the headache, and there wouldn't be any financial implications because I don't earn anything from it. But I didn't delete it, and the reason for that is that there have been a few people recently who have come onto the channel and they're really enthusiastic about learning Thai, and they've made some very nice comments about the channel, and I feel for them. And if I just delete it, they haven't done anything wrong, so I'm carrying on. So today, once again, I'm going to go over this contentious subject, and this is the business with implied or inherent vowels. It's where there's a vowel sound in a word, but there's no written vowel. It's one of the more difficult aspects of Thai. And I'm using some material from David Smith's excellent book. This is the book I've mentioned many times, and it's my number one recommendation for learning to read Thai. And also I'm using a textbook that one of my kids have got. So what David Smith says, he says that for words that have just got two consonants, an initial and a final consonant, you need to add, and he's just used the English letters, which is very advisable. If I had done this, then there wouldn't have been a problem. So it just needs like an O sound in the middle. So con and got, simple enough. Then he goes on to say, with the words with three consonants, you put an at sound in between the first and second consonant, and an ot sound in between the second and third consonant. And David gives a few examples. So tanon, road, street. Sangop, which is peaceful. And kanom, which is a sort of generic word in Thai for sweets or cakes or desserts. He goes on to say that if the first two letters in a word do not form a consonant cluster, you need to put a vowel in between those two consonants. It's not consistent, so like tanon, it'd be like an a vowel. Talog, funny. Sayam, this is the transliteration of the old word for Thailand is really bad. It's transliterated as S-I-A-M. It's actually Satyam, which is nothing like S-I-A-M. But words like this that start with the Bo by Mai, and then they've got the Ro Rua, that's Bodhisat company. So it depends on the word as to which vowel you need to insert. And because he mentions consonant clusters, he then gives you a list of all the consonant clusters. And you might notice that there aren't any consonant clusters that start with an S consonant. He then talks about what he calls linker syllables. And it's words that appear to have two syllables but have actually got three. You need to add an implied vowel in the middle. And what also happens is that the final consonant on the first syllable is also the initial consonant on the second syllable. And it gets a bit more complicated in Thai because consonants change sound whether they are final or initial consonants. So in this example for fruit, the first syllable is pon, because that lo ling is a final consonant. It makes an N sound. But in the second syllable, where you need to add the vowel, that lo ling is actually the initial consonant. So it makes an L sound, so it's pon la mai. And the other example is chonabot, countryside. I've added another word here, pon mai, which means tree. And like how do you know that this word isn't the same? You know, why isn't it pon na mai? What, you know, why is it pon mai with 2 syllables instead of 3 syllables? You know, it's the way Thais know this is that they just recognise the word and they know how to pronounce it. But if you don't know how to pronounce this word, how do you know if it's 2 or 3 syllables? You know, it's quite difficult. Well, actually, it's impossible. I'll now go into the material in my kids' Thai textbooks. And the way that Thais are taught this is that in the books it gives the actual spelling and then it gives a phonetic spelling, which is really good. So Thais, they don't know instinctively if a word has like an implied vowel and an extra syllable, but they're just taught to recognise words. So let's look at some of these words. So this one here, for instance, it looks like it's got 2 syllables, kun tam. But the phonetic spelling actually shows that it's kun na tam. It's actually got 3 syllables. And this one here, this looks like up sak. It's actually up sak. So Thais, so they don't instinctively know, they're just taught which words have the implied vowels and which ones have got the extra syllable. Here are some more examples from the kids' textbook of actual and phonetic spellings. So this word here, for example, sanam, as I said earlier, there are no consonant clusters that start with S consonants. So in that case, we need to put a short a after the source there, so that becomes sanam. This word here is the same as on the video I did a few videos ago, where what you've actually got, you've got a vowel combination, but then you've also got an implied vowel in between the letters of the vowel combination, which makes it quite difficult. If the actual spelling was like the phonetic spelling, it would be very easy, but because of the way it's spelt, it can be quite difficult. So we've got this Sara A and Yoyak, which makes an sound. And that the initial consonant is lo ling, like le. And then you've got the cho ching at the front, which is followed by an implied vowel. So it's something like cha le. So if it was spelt, you know, phonetically, there'd be no problem at all. Because of the actual spelling, it can be quite difficult when you first start. Now on to my big mistake that everyone loves reminding me of. What I should have done is just followed David Smith's lead and just used English letters, A's and O's. Then it wouldn't have been any problem. What I did initially, I used Sara A and or ang for the implied vowels. Sara A is okay, but or ang isn't right for like the O sound. The the actual sounds is this, Sarah O, and the Sarah up, so it just makes an O, just like the English O in got or rot. So as David Smith says, and I pointed out right at the beginning of this video, if you've just got a word with two consonants, you just need to put that O sound in, and in English you use the letter O. In Thai it would actually be this vowel, which is the Sarah O plus the Sarah A, which shortens the vowel. I hope that's cleared things up, and it might even have got a few people off my back. And regarding this channel, I think I'm going to slow down a bit. I started YouTube just with one channel. It was mainly sort of technical stuff and photography, which I really enjoy, and just various technical equipment. Then I wanted to add some stuff about Thailand, and it's not a good thing to mix content on YouTube. People will subscribe for one thing, and if you start doing content that's completely different, they just lose interest. So I started another channel about Thailand, and on that channel there was stuff about living in Thailand, just general stuff, and I also started doing language videos. Once again, that was mixing content, because a lot of people who might have an interest in Thailand aren't interested in language. So then I decided to do another split, so I made another channel to do Thai language. So I ended up doing 3 channels. And YouTube puts quite a lot of pressure on people. You do a lot of work to get the channel up and running and hopefully earning some money. And if you ease off, then they take that money away. That's what happened on this Thai language channel. They just took the advertising away. So you have to keep channels going all the time. And I've got a very, very busy life with 2 kids and a house to maintain, and 3 YouTube channels, and it just gets a bit too much at times. So I've got to ease off on YouTube, and this is the one that doesn't pay me any money, I think this is the one that I'll have to do less work on in the future. I will keep it going, but just I won't be creating videos as often as I've done in the past. Thank you for understanding, and thank you for watching.